Good evening to our viewers watching on television and those joining us online across our social media platforms. I am Madana Dark with the Tuesday, May 12th edition of the Guyana TV9 News. In the headlines tonight, government cracks down on contractor fraud as nearly 12,000 apply for small contracts. WIN councillor arrested after man allegedly beaten with baton. Bail or a death sentence. Dr. PERSAUD calls out courts for exposing victims to predators. Stop BERBICE man dies after car plunges into canal. And Attorney General NANDLALL slams Venezuela defiance at The Hague. Now for the news in depth. Vice President Jack says the government is moving aggressively to clean up its list of nearly 12,000 applicants seeking small government contracts, warning that some individuals are attempting to game the system through duplicate companies and other irregularities. But despite the challenges, he says, the initiative remains focused on one goal: giving ordinary Guyanese greater access to government opportunities across all 10 regions. Details in this report.
Speaking to reporters at the Orsa Conference Center, where cabinet ministers were meeting directly with citizens on issues ranging from contracts to community concerns, Vice President Jagdeo explained that the pre-qualification exercise was launched to make the process more transparent and more accessible for small contractors. Under the Procurement Act, contracts valued at $15 million can be awarded without a formal tender process. The government says it wants more Guyanese to benefit from these opportunities. Jagdeo said while thousands have benefited from these contracts over the years, many complained they were never clear on how the system worked. The new process, he said, was designed to level the playing field by allowing anyone interested to formally register and compete. That move resulted in an overwhelming response, nearly 12,000 applications nationwide.
So a lot of people have come here maybe to talk about contracts. They want a contract. You know, we went through a pre-qualification exercise because we wanted to enhance transparency surrounding the award of contracts. We wanted to help more small people get contracts. So in the past, contracts were awarded to people below 15 million without a tender process, consistent with the law, the Procurement Act. And thousands of Guyanese were helped.
But during the vetting process, officials uncovered what Jagdeo described as serious red flags. Some applicants, he revealed, used multiple family members to register separate companies, in direct violation of the rules. In other cases, larger established contractors allegedly tried to sneak into a program designed specifically for small businesses. Government teams and ministers are now reviewing and cleansing the database to ensure only legitimate applicants remain on the list.
We are sometimes caught in the middle and we have to take tough decisions, but we will do so. And Guyanese across Guyana in all 10 regions are going to benefit from additional procurement opportunities, particularly small people.
Despite delays and growing frustration among some applicants, Jagdeo says the government is committed to ensuring the process remains fair. He noted that if most applicants are successfully pre-qualified, the administration hopes each contractor could receive at least one opportunity this year, though he cautioned that thousands of contracts cannot be distributed overnight. The vice president maintained that the initiative is about empowering small contractors, not concentrating opportunities in the hands of a few major players. He says by expanding access, government is creating broader economic opportunities for ordinary citizens while improving accountability and transparency in public spending. Melly Morris, Guyana TV9 News.
The Minister of Human Services and Social Security, Honorable Dr. Vindhya Prasad, has raised serious concerns about how bail is applied in sexual offense and family violence cases, warning that inconsistent rulings are leaving victims exposed to further harm and, in some cases, deadly consequences. Here's more.
Speaking at the 2026 Sexual Assault Awareness Symposium, the minister did not hold back. She's demanding a radical shift in how the courts handle predators, questioning why some sentences are so extremely lenient that they feel like a slap in the face to survivors. She stressed that while legal processes must be followed, the outcomes in some cases appear disproportionate and deeply troubling for survivors. She pointed to instances where individuals convicted of sexual offenses receive what she described as extremely lenient sentences, questioning how justice is perceived by victims. PERSAUD said such outcomes raise difficult but necessary questions about whether legal current measures adequately reflect the severity of these crimes and the trauma inflicted.
What we have is that bail is not consistent or commensurate sometimes, many times, with what happens. You may or may not agree with me. But we sometimes see, I recently read, a child was sexually assaulted and the person got 3 months. This is not bail now. This is a sentence. This is a 3-month sentence. How do you tell that child that that's justice served?
The minister also warned that the issue goes beyond sentencing, highlighting cases where accused persons released on bail have gone on to reoffend or even commit further violence against complainants. She said these realities, though uncomfortable, must be openly addressed by policymakers and the legal fraternity. The minister also called for stronger, more consistent approaches in handling bail applications in serious offenses, urging greater dialogue among justice stakeholders. She said the aim should be to ensure that legal protections do not unintentionally place victims in continued danger after reporting abuse.
Even when someone comes out on bail, we have seen them go back and kill the very persons who have made those reports. These are the ugly but real things that happen in our world. And we have to talk about them.
The Human Services Minister emphasized that the symposium should not only raise awareness, but also produce practical recommendations to improve the system, insisting that reform is necessary to better balance the rights of the accused with the safety and dignity of survivors.
Police have arrested Krishna Berbisham, a We Invest in Nationhood counselor, after a 20-year-old man allegedly suffered a broken hand during an assault at the counselor's home in Blackbush, Boulder. The victim told police he was allegedly chased and beaten with a wooden baton before residents rushed him to the number 77 public hospital. The incident comes just days after Berbisham was granted $200,000 bail in a separate case involving the alleged injury of 5 cattle. We will be back after the short break. Stay tuned.
Want to place your death announcements and in memoriam messages on Channel 9? Call 592-761-5006, 710-5008, 600-5006. Or visit our office at Lot 85A Lamaha Street, Albertown, Georgetown, Century 21 Building.
Guyana Channel 9 is now Guy TV9, proudly under new management. We're building stronger with a balanced and open platform for all advertisers. Whether you're promoting a business, service, or event, your message belongs right here. So choose your spot, news, prime time, or anytime, and reach viewers across Guyana. With affordable rates and professional service, Guy TV9 is your partner in progress. So visit us at Lot 21A, Lamaha Street, Georgetown, in the Century 21 building, or call 600-5006 or 761-5006. Guyana TV9. New leadership, fresh outlook, real results.
GCOM is currently conducting a national registration exercise. Who can register? Anyone who will be 14 years or older by June 30, 2026, and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. How to apply for registration? You must visit the GCOM registration office that is responsible for your area of residence to apply for registration, name change, or correction. You must have the following source documents as might be relevant: original birth certificate or valid Guyana passport for new registration, original marriage certificate and original birth certificate in the case of a name change by marriage, original deed poll and original birth certificate in the case of a name change by deed poll, original naturalization certificate and original birth certificate or valid passport in the case of naturalization. This registration exercise will end on May 29, 2026. You need to apply for a transfer if you now live at a different address than the one you were registered at. For more information, contact GCOM on 225-027729 or visit www.gcom.org.gy. GCOM is currently conducting a national registration exercise. Who can register? Anyone who will be 14 years or older by June 30, 2026, and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. It is the civic duty and legal responsibility of all Guyanese who meet the eligibility criteria to apply for registration. By so doing, you will be ensuring that you are issued a national identification card and be included in the official list of electors for future elections, provided you meet all eligibility criteria. This registration exercise will end on May 29, 2026. You need to apply for a transfer if you now live at a different address than the one you were registered at. For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-027729 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Welcome back. You're watching the Guyana TV9 News Bulletin. A decisive moment for Guyana's sovereignty. After a high-stake week at The Hague, Attorney General Mohamed NANDLALL says Guyana is emerging from the International Court of Justice more confident than ever of a total victory. The oral hearings, the final battleground for the century-old border dispute, wrapped up yesterday. Both Guyana and Venezuela faced off before the world's highest tribunal, with NANDLALL asserting that the strength of international law is now on the trial. Here's more.
The oral phase of the proceedings took place over 2 rounds between May 4th and May 11th, during which Guyana and Venezuela presented detailed legal and historical arguments. The court has now concluded this stage and will enter deliberations with a final binding judgment expected in the coming months. The case centers on the validity of the 1899 arbitral award that established the boundary between the two countries and Venezuela's subsequent challenge to it decades later. Speaking after the hearings, Attorney General NANDLALL underscored the broader significance of the case for international relations and the peaceful settlements of disputes between states. He said the proceedings reflected the strength of international law and the importance of maintaining a rules-based global order in which disputes are resolved without coercion or force.
The very fact that the case reached the ICJ and that the written and oral phases of the proceedings were carried out to their completion represent a triumph for the rule of law and the rules-based international order. Dispute between states must be resolved peacefully, finally, and in conformity with international law. They must not be allowed to fester indefinitely. They must never be resolved by threat or use of military force.
Guyana's legal team expressed confidence in its case, reiterating its belief that the 1899 arbitral award remains valid, final, and binding, and defines the international boundary between the two states. The government said it was satisfied with its presentations during the hearings and credited its international legal team and representatives for advancing what it described as compelling arguments on both fact and law. The dispute's procedural history traces back to Venezuela's 1962 challenge to the arbitral award after decades of acceptance, followed by the 1966 Geneva Agreement, which established a framework for resolving the issue. After bilateral efforts failed, the United Nations Secretary-General in 2018 referred the matter to the International Court of Justice. In 2020, the court confirmed its jurisdiction over the case, allowing it to proceed to its merits stage. Guyana has reformed, but it will await the court's final judgment with patience, dignity, and optimism while maintaining its commitment to peaceful relations with Venezuela. At the same time, it stressed that any rejection of the court's ruling would undermine international law and the obligation of states under the United Nations system. Officials say they remain hopeful that the final decision will bring closure to a dispute spanning more than a century, pave the way for lasting stability.
We will await the court's final judgment on the merits with patience, decorum, dignity, and optimism. We will continue to address Venezuela in a spirit of peace, cooperation, and friendship, and as sovereign equals. We will respect Venezuela's sovereignty, as we have always done, and insist that Venezuela refrain from trespassing on or threatening Guyana's sovereignty.
Melanie Morris, Guyana TV9 News.
Torrential overnight rainfall submerged parts of Georgetown on Monday, prompting an emergency late-night mobilization led by President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali, with more than 4 inches of water recorded in just hours. The government was racing against time and a gripped weather forecast to drain the city's hardest-hit communities. Details in this report. Under the cover of darkness, President Irfan Ali inspected flooded streets in Queenstown and Alexander Village, where rising waters have once again crept into homes and businesses. The president announced a strategic urge in equipment, including the installation of a second pump in critical neighborhoods. This is part of a larger nationwide rollout, with 11 new high-capacity pumps expected to arrive in Guyana by Friday.
We are not a government that hides from challenges. This is a challenge, despite it's a challenge under the watch of the City Council. We have been working. We have seen improvement based on the work we have done so far. It would have been far worse across Georgetown, but there are still challenges that we have to fix, like this one in 4th Street, Alexander Village. And I just want to let residents know some of the interventions that we'll be making.
The crisis has triggered a special task force led by Prime Minister Mark Phillips and the CDC. Officials confirmed that by Monday afternoon, Georgetown's drainage systems were overwhelmed by 4.5 inches of rain. While 15 pumps are working non-stop in the city and over 200 nationwide, the president pointed to a recurring enemy, clogged infrastructure in Queenstown. Ali highlighted drains choked with sand and construction waste, blaming poor city maintenance for slowing down the drainage of even the most modern pump systems. Minister of Agriculture Zulfikar Mustafa says his team are on 24-hour alert as the clouds remain heavy.
These pumps that are operating on a 24-hour basis, and this will continue over the next few hours, but the intensity of the rainfall will increase over the next few days.
He added that schools and public facilities were being opened to assist with drainage flow and emergency coordination efforts. To protect critical infrastructure, joint services personnel have been deployed to secure all pump stations and monitor operations. While more rain is coming, the president insists that without these aggressive midnight interventions, the damage to the capital would have been far more severe. Adana Dorek, Guyana TV9 News. A 42-year-old man from Stanleytown, New Amsterdam, has died after allegedly being stabbed and then crashing his car into a canal while trying to escape. Police say Oswin Lawson was driving along Edinburgh Public Road when he slammed into a roadside stall before plunging into a canal. He was pulled from the submerged vehicle by residents and rushed to New Amsterdam Public Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. A 21-year-old suspect has since been arrested. Turning to regional news, the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPHA, has classified the regional risk of hantavirus as low following a cluster of severe respiratory illnesses on the MV Hondias cruise vessel because the virus is primarily transmitted through direct contact with infected rodents rather than person to person. The potential for a wider regional outbreak is considered minimal. Authorities are continuing to monitor the situation while advising that standard hygiene and rodent control are effective preventative measures. CARPHA emphasizes that the incident is likely an isolated occurrence, maintaining that the overall public health threat now remains low. Internationally, in Pakistan, a bomb rigged to a loader rickshaw exploded Tuesday at the Bushi Fathak Chow in Lekhi Marwat, killing 9 people and injuring over 30. The blast occurred during peak hours at Navrang Bazaar, claiming the lives of 2 traffic police officers and several civilians. While the Tehrak-e-Tabalan Pakistan TTP denied involvement, authorities believe security forces were the intended target following a recent surge in regional militant activity. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif condemned the attack as emergency teams worked to transport the critically wounded to the hospitals in Banu and Peshawar. Those are our major headlines for tonight's newscast. For more trending stories, follow us at our Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube platforms at GOVT TV9. I'm Madana Dark. Thank you for watching.